Okay, we're just going to go over the topic of when to and when not to cancel a lesson. So there's a couple of reasons why you would have to cancel a lesson on the day, like during the lesson. Firstly, if it's too windy. Secondly, if it's not windy enough. Thirdly, if the student can't continue. So if they're getting too cold, they're getting too hot, or they don't want to. The third point we'll start with because that's the easiest. If the student can't or doesn't want to continue, then it's a pretty easy one. Either the whole lesson stops if it's a one-to-one lesson, or they need to get out the water, go and get warm, go and cool down, come back to the centre, or if we're at Greatstone, go back to the van. Using the radio to let whoever's managing that day know that they're coming back is really helpful because we can prepare anything we need to do for them. When to cancel it if it's too strong is again reasonably simple. We're allowed to teach up to 25 knots, so which is 29 miles an hour. That's actually pretty windy. The waves are going to start to get pretty big then, and even for bigger guys that are learning, is going to make it difficult. Trying to board start on a really small kite in anything more than 25 knots is tricky, even if they're quite good. That upper limit can be reduced if we've got a really small or light girl or a younger person like a child, a 10, well probably not 10 but maybe 12-year-old that's very light. 25 knots of them is going to be too much. We wouldn't, we've got to make an assessment on the day, but maybe 18 or 20 knots is going to be their upper limit. Now the more difficult one is cancelling the wind when it's too light. With good instructing techniques and light wind teaching skills, students can learn a lot when the wind's light. It takes a lot more techniques, they have to learn it properly, but in the long run they're going to learn a lot more. Using, as we do on the day one, the older kites for the beach flying is really useful. And watching the other videos we've made for launching, relaunching the kite from the water in light winds makes the lesson run a lot more smoothly. We obviously don't want to waste the students' time though. If they're not learning anything from the lesson and they're getting frustrated, then it's worth taking a break, see if the wind's going to come back, go through a pack down if they haven't done that. Use the time wisely to cover board start theory on the beach or anything like that. We have to remember that a lot of the students come from quite far away, so cancelling them can be very frustrating for them. They've probably paid for accommodation locally. They may have travelled a long way. They may have one weekend off a month where they can come down and do something like this. So they want to try and make the most of the weekend as much as possible. They usually understand if we can't run the lesson because it's too windy or not windy enough. That's just part of the sport. But we'll do what we can to run it when possible. Rebooking them in is really difficult. As you know, in the summer we're really busy, and it might be 6 weeks until we've got space to fit them to come back in again.